Let's do a nice figure sketch. Let's see. I have some reference somewhere. Yeah, it's online. I can't show it, but a nice gestural stance of a figure, female figure holding a spear. Um, I'll just do a small sketch first. Let's and I'll just do this sketch to kind of feel the gesture, see where I have opportunity to play with the gesture, the proportions, and so on and so forth. So I am trying to establish a sense of three dimensions by inserting these cross-sectional lines and not regarding the figure as a flat two-dimensional um, entity. And we see the legs kind of facing the opposite direction. This one is a bit more relaxed, but all in all, fairly straight. We get one arm hanging off like this, the other one is raised up, and here again I can now start thinking about the three-dimensionality of it all. Also thinking about the proportions. I'm not really trying to over carefully measure them or whatever, but I am kind of considering where I think, based on the knowledge I have, the wrist or hand should end up. And we get this idea for the spear. Let's see, how am I showing up on camera? Okay, as you can see, it's still a very light sketch at this point. Um, but it does hold uh, the basics or the foundation. She has a very long neck, and I should definitely try to locate the knee, and for this leg as well, which is a little bit almost at the same point. And I can show for the upper leg, her right upper leg, the one to our left, that it's coming forward a bit, the knee is coming forward, and then for the lower leg it's taking the opposite direction, creating this bend with the knee towards us, which is not happening for this leg, right? I think for this arm, treating it like a tube, it's slightly moving away from us as we get to the wrist, just because then it fits behind her back. And we get something pretty much like this. Well, um, of course we can look at the hair. She has humongous flowing hair, almost manga-esque, but also that I want to treat as a very gestural shape. So this is a fun one. I think I might want to revert to it later. For now, I'm gonna note down the reference number so I can revisit it later, and I can look for another one. Okay, here we have a pretty difficult one, but a very cool one at the same time. This one is also nice, but I'll stick to this one. Okay, so here we have very much a counterbalance from shoulder to hips. At the same time, we have a tremendous twist. There's quite some distortion due to the angle lens. Maybe I want to mitigate that a bit. Um, in this case, I think I'll start with a little line for shoulder and then immediately drop down and get this counterbalancing arch of the center line to come toward the hips over here somewhere, and show her leaning forward like this now. At the same time, I want to establish this twist, so more room for the side over here, and over here on the rib cage we see a little bit of the side, maybe over there. Very difficult pose. Now let's look for the leg. I see one leg pretty much in a straight line, even though there is in this third dimension a bending of the knee, and the foot, well, very generic shape, and the other leg is bent a bit and then coming forward. It's closer to us in space than the other foot. I'm looking here for a simple kind of foot shape um, to try and catch the orientation. Knee and this arm is coming forward and the hand is somewhere over here. The fingers grabbing or gently holding the staff, the spear. The other arm over here, and maybe I can use the staff or the spear as a kind of a guidance for where I think the hand should hold up. She's holding the staff a bit weird, pressing it down with her palm. Well, maybe I'm gonna keep that. Not sure, but it's okay. Elbow. And I've been a bit careless. This arm is more inward, or the hand is placed more inward. So I'm just gonna change it. Look for my eraser. I like a kneaded eraser. It doesn't leave any grains of eraser residue on the page. And as I'm sketching so lightly, it's powerful enough to get everything out of the way. There we go. That's a little bit better. Well, maybe she would feel a bit better if she had a head. Again, we have a very long neck. I can find the sternum. She's leaning over. The sternum is coming down and starting here. The bit where the clavicles come from. And then we see this ridiculously long neck. And she's tilting her head back, which I think in this case can call for kind of a bucket head type of approach. And something like this. The hair dropping down. Maybe I'll give a nice flow to the hair. Kind of complementing this S curve. Well, something like this. Now, this is definitely not fleshed out. It's quite rudimentary. So let's see which number is this? 4154. And both of these I can develop a bit further. I can stick with this pencil tool, by the way. Nothing wrong with that. I can also change to a finer line, and I'll grab a paper. Well, I can use one of these underneath it, which I'm going to use to lay my hand on. That'll avoid smudging. And that's of course a little bit of the downside of pencil. You kind of smudge it out when you go over it too much and make too much contact with the skin. So back to the earlier one, 3995. definitely put quite some exaggeration in this already. That's nice. And now I'm just gonna uh, give more form, anatomy, detail to the body. So let's develop this one a bit more. Um, Now it's maybe a good idea to frame the face and think about the features. Brow line probably here, and eye line. And this is going to be the chin probably, and we can shape her face. Now I'm not going for any sort of likeness, but uh, as the face is there, I might as well use it as a reference, kind of an angular face, strong cheekbones, and here we have the neck. Now is probably the nose, and then plenty room for the mouth. And I can look for a little indication of the side of the face. And we'll find the ear, if we follow this wrapping line, quite low, somewhere over here, but a lot of hair is overlapping it. So with this slightly finer tip, I get more refined um, because of the pressure now concentrating on a finer tip. It's also getting a bit darker, yet this is still very much amendable. So if I don't like anything, I can still easily erase and, well, do all those things that I think need doing to improve the sketch. And I shouldn't be afraid to still incorporate quite some structural lines as well. Here I find the structure of the anatomy, the deltoids here. And yes, we do also see the trapezius muscles uh, into the sternum here. We come with these sternocleidomastoids, and of course here I still have uh, the opportunity to change the proportions and dimensions a bit. All in all, I think it's good. Now she's extremely hippie, very slender, not hippie like in 70s hippie Woodstock, Love and Peace, but uh, she has a very pronounced hourglass figure, uh, very slim upper body, wide hips. I think uh, I'm gonna make her upper body just a bit more, well, voluminous. But yeah, I do still wanna, of course, look for this point where it's maybe most narrow, the hourglass figure, and also then do look for the curve and the shape of the hips. Wouldn't be surprised if she's some kind of a dancer or athlete or something. Quite skinny, very fit. Now we find the crotch and these groin lines moving up from that point to get this underwear figure. And we can definitely try and find a little bit of the shape. Also, of course, um, dictated or governed by the kind of anatomy, the shape of the legs. I'll keep the inside a bit more straight and the outside give it more bulge. And I think I should move the crotch up a bit. And look for this other leg. Perhaps it's okay. We have this nice, well, let's elongate this a bit. Uh, Muscle coming inside, and then the inner muscles here wrapping behind that. And do see the knee as quite a simple disc shape in this case. And once again, more mass and shape on the outside of the leg. I do want to compare these two to see if they match up. If one leg looks a lot wider than the other, then that's gonna be a bit weird. This looks okay. So I'm still trying to look at the design a little bit critically, and I'm still trying to look for locations or areas where I think it can be improved. Um, but it also often happens that I see that only half an hour later or so. Well, that's okay. keep the foot shape quite simple. Maybe I get around to it in a later stage, but for now it's fine. All right. Um, Also the hand here. A little bit of simple shape for the thumb, and looking at the reference I see how the fingers wrap around it. I'm gonna give a bit more of an expressive gesture to this arm or hand. And it's up to me how far I want to take the detail in the face. Obviously, um, it's gonna get quite narrow and small here, but some indication also of what the hair is doing, for example. That might help. And the spear over there. Now, I forgot one quite crucial thing, which is of course the breast. Uh, I do have to say that given the angle and her body type, there's not much mass to be added, but I can of course give a subtle hint of, well, the surfaces changing on the rib cage, and keeping it very minimal. We can fairly quickly uh, establish just a sense of some mass being added, and, well, look for the nipples because she's leaning backward, and um, there's not much mass. Then we see the nipples pointing upward a bit. I think I already overdid it here. And sometimes the kind of broken line idea can help, where we see these staccato lines kind of optically forming or suggesting an entire line without showing a very harsh or aggressive plane change. Let's look for a little bit refinement in, well, the shapes for the abdomen. And again, re-establish these kinds of lines of anatomy, or cross sections, I mean, showing the anatomy. Well, we get something like this. As a kind of a second stage tier development of the sketch. I'll just finish the spear. I think this whole reference set was inspired by the artwork of Frank Frazetta. Wouldn't be surprised. So maybe I should and give her a teeny tiny skirt, like all those warrior women from Frazetta. But I think I'll move on to the next one now. Let's see, how long have I been going at it? Okay, I'll take a short break and then return in a second. Okay, here I am with the other one, and it's nice to see the kind of elaboration. This one was pretty similar to this one, so now it's just about refinement and addition of detail, and basically the hard work is done. So I'll revert back to this sketch 4154. Okay, let's see, where are you at? 4154. There we go. It's a very cool lighting situation as well on these. Don't know if I will get around to it, but I'd love to have a crack at it. Maybe for another time. For now, I'll come in with the refinement. I really exaggerated the elongated neck, but I like it. I like it a lot. I think I need some more width on this side for the shoulder. And here we refine the rib cage, sternum into belly and crotch. I can, well, I'll keep my pencil very regularly. In this case, kind of get an idea of the locations of the breasts by simple, well, elliptical shapes or ball shapes or whatever. And now move on to the other arm. Find maybe the elbow joint over here. I do think it's important to keep that flow of the arm going into the hand. Now, that's a little bit different in the reference from how I want to show it, but that's okay. Well, it's close anyway. And here we see the thigh overlapping line. and from out from behind the rib cage here comes the wide hip, and yeah, I'll add a nice rhythm and flow to the curvature of the leg here. Kneecap, a little bit of an expressive arch for the lower leg, of course, exemplified or amplified in the calf. And here we find the groin with the other leg coming in like this. Sometimes I'll draw the kind of cross contour lines just to try and assess whether the foreshortening is okay, and try and understand how the leg is, or the body part in general, is oriented in space. It can be quite valuable to give myself some idea of that, even though none of these lines can actually be seen. Okay, I also think the foot can be a bit larger, and I am going to change the position of the hand. I think maybe she's clenching it more in a fist type of position, and that would probably bring out the arm a bit more like this, and we would see a little thumb over there. So I need to reassess this whole shoulder joint, and I'm searching, I'm being messy. I can always, like I'm doing here, clean it up and now commit a bit better to um, the lines I want. So I'm not sure whether I like this, but I'll go for it for this moment. And now I can look for the detailing in the shoulder area, neck area, again the ear, and a kind of angular face, but seen very much from below. So I'll have a nose and a mouth, and the mouth line is following this curve that I already initiated in my kind of bucket idea. Uh, and this hair flow, kind of exaggerating the curve and the S curve in the body, or repeating it. Now I probably would see, like I'm doing in the photo, the slim waist. Maybe I'll just show that a little bit. Now I am working fairly heavy-handed. Of course, I don't have to. I can still work fairly lightly if I want. It's a little bit up to me. I'll indicate just a little toe and then the kind of rhythm of the rest of the toes. And here we have the other foot. Find the angles. Maybe a bit big, but I don't like the arm. I think it's a little bit too much of a nondescript silhouette. I find I need a little bit more of an aggressive, strong eraser now. And where's my dusting brush? It's, oh wait, it's here. Went to the store where they sell makeup supplies. Bought this very soft brush as a duster for my eraser residue. So, what do I want to do with this hand? It's a little bit of a search. I'll switch to my somewhat broader and lighter sketch tool again. And if I really am not sure, then I can always just stick to what the reference was dictating. With one thumb over here and the rest of the hand, the fingers, kind of elegantly resting on top. And I think I'll just stick with that. I gave it a go, but didn't kind of work out the way I had hoped. And that's of course the whole fun thing, right? To be able to try out a couple of things, see what works, and just have fun with the sketch. Yeah, this is perhaps the best option for now. And indicate a little bit of the elbow. There we go. Okay, I can amend a bit the breasts. Now here, because she's leaning forward, the breast is hanging a bit, so this line is a bit more, let's say, full than in this case. Still, it's a very subtle curve. Of course, if you want to, you can exaggerate the breasts as much as you want. Well, pretty much as you want. Let's see, maybe the hair is flowing like this, right? Yep. And again, we can find the eye line, brow line. We kind of have the tip of the nose, mouth line. So it is worth noting that the specific proportions and design of the features themselves, uh, you can change them, you can control them. The underlying gesture and structure would remain pretty similar in any case. But okay, I think I'll stop the recording for now. And maybe look for a follow-up. Who knows, next time. Maybe see if I can shade this or ink it or, well, do whatever I want with it. Maybe a little bit more of an indication of the belly button in this case. And again, the kind of stomach lines. There we go. Crotch over here. And I'm gonna call this one done for now. Not yet. Just some refinement of the mouth. And notice that refinement in this case meant deleting a lot of lines. Refinement is not always about adding more. It can also be about subtracting from what you already have. Okay, I guess this would be a fine sketch to further develop in a later stage. So, thanks all. I'll see you next time. And yes, like I said, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.